Hi there, Chris here. Just want to talk to you guys today about what inspires you. I had recently done the video on nostalgia and combating burnout. You can check them out over there. And so I want to talk about the things that inspire us as far as like projects that we'd love to do but have never gotten around to getting them done. And I'm thinking that maybe this year might be the year where I start to work on some projects, these passion projects as it were. These have really, sometimes they, well, realistically, they don't sometimes have a lot to do with wargaming so much as just kind of general hobby. Personally, I've talked about this on the show once or twice about how a lot of the YouTube channels I follow are shows on like woodworking or machine shop metallurgy or, you know, things of that nature. And these are things that I used to do way back in the day. These are kind of things that I'd like to get into, but there's also other aspects that I would like to get into. Cosplay, prop making, these kind of things interest me as well. And there's a lot of cosplay and prop makers that I follow online as well. This is really kind of an open thing where I'm just going to just share with you a couple things that, you know, that I really would like to sink my teeth in as far as getting into them this year. I would like to do this. So number one, the first thing that I would like to get into, start making or start at least accruing the components to make this project is I would like to do a one-to-one Han Solo in Carbonite. There are kits out there. There are molds of like the screen original, and I think I would like to acquire those and actually tackle that project. There's various ways, and I've seen on how it's done, and you know, I think acquiring just the molds, Harrison Ford and everything like that, and then just basically building the I don't know, what is that called? That big thing that's around Han Solo. He's, you know, it's in the Carbonite, you know. And then of course all the little doodads. And I would really like to have those doodads illuminated. And I think that would be a lot of fun. Now, LEDs, as I've mentioned before, I would really like to up my LED game. And I would start to like to using those elements into models, you know, starships, stuff like that. But a one-to-one Han Solo in Carbonite, that is on my list. That's probably the top of my list as far as a project, a passion project that I would like to do. Now, is this something that I would film? Possibly. Don't hold your breath, but it's possible that I might film my work on it. I have not acquired anything so far as to get started on it, but in the spirit of, you know, new things for 2020 and doing more stuff on my channel, it's possible I might film my progress as far as how that is going to go. So, you know, stay tuned. Now, like I said, I have not acquired any of the parts yet. Really the big one is acquiring the bits of Harrison Ford to fit onto you know, a blank. I often see it as resin, and then you just mount it to basically plywood, texture, and all that. I've seen one where basically it was illuminated so that it looked like, you know, the moment that Han Solo was kind of coming out of the Carbonite. I thought that was a fun one, but that's outside my realm because I don't really know a lot about playing with LEDs right yet. So that one might have to wait, maybe in the next iteration, maybe, you know, 5 years down the line when I want to tackle doing another Han Solo or something like that. Who knows? But that is a big one. That's like up here as far as getting one of those kind of projects done. The next thing that I had seen, which I was just recently tuned into, was Babylon 5. Now, some of you might be going, what the hell's Babylon 5? Well, Babylon 5 was this TV show in the mid-90s. It was airing around the same time as Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and it was about, you know, life on a spaceship or space station, various aliens coming together, conflict, and, you know, and it was one of those shows that was really ahead of its time. It was one of those shows that had overarching storylines and continuous storytelling. It wasn't just episodic like Star Trek was, like Star Trek the original, Star Trek Next Generation, and the early parts of DS9 were very episodic. And in fact, once DS9, around the second season, once they start introducing the Dominion War stuff, then it becomes more continual type of storytelling. And Babylon 5, right from the start, started with that. Every episode had a beginning to end, but there was this overarching storyline going on. And of course, the brilliance of that show was it was written as a 5-year story, which, you know, is kind of impressive in itself. If you are not that familiar with Babylon 5, I highly recommend it. Although I was watching one of the writers who wrote for the show, he was recommending, how do you get somebody into Babylon 5 today considering that the show, the way it was shot, it was in standard, so it wasn't, you know, HD format like we're all used to now. And the special effects in the show are dated as well, even though it used computer graphics very heavily back in the day, which was kind of the infancy of it. But it, you know, gave us the show a distinct look. And the effects, for the most part, still hold up today, but they look like early CGI. So how does that, you know, how do you get somebody new into Babylon 5 who likes sci-fi, but, you know, and I had listened to this writer who had created and wrote for the show, and he recommended cell phones, you know, off your tablets or whatever, and, you know, watch the show on the smaller screen, and it actually helps with, you know, the viewing experience, especially with the dated graphics and everything like that. And on a small screen, you know, it translates okay. It's when you go up to like a 5K, you know, 60-inch TV that you go, oh my god, look at the CGI. It's just, oh my god, the resolutions. It's, oh my gosh, you know. It was one of my favorite shows. I have all the shows in my collection, and I have one of the models. You may have seen it in the background once or twice in other videos. I have a little Star Fury, and that's from that show. It's a little kind of like a X-shaped fighter plane or spaceship. It's a fighter. Anyway. And so I have that model, and you know, I've wanted to acquire more of the models, but the models, you know, they're pretty rare, and, you know, they are a little bit pricey. So I was perusing the internet, and I had seen on eBay somebody selling 3D printed versions of the ships from the show, and they're actually fairly large scale. Like the Omega class destroyer was about like yay big. It's about probably 15-16 inches in length, which is about the same size as like the Star Trek kits. The Enterprise D was like a 16-inch kit. So I seen that, I was like, wow, and it got me thinking again. I think I need to get a 3D printer. Babylon 5, yeah, and it had like the Narn battleship, it had the Minbari battleship, it had the human battleship, it had all these other little, you know, ships, especially like the big capital ships. That's another thing that I might set my sights on and acquire, and, you know, start building up a collection of those things, because the 3D printing, I mean, today is fantastic. I mean, like 3D prints, you know, 10 years ago, we'd have laughed our heads off. Oh, 3D print? Oh, come on, that's some sci-fi type stuff. But we're here now. 3D print, do color. Model, you don't have to print your models now or paint your models now. You can print it up in color, which is another topic for another day. So that's another one that's on my list. That's probably like 2 or 3 on my list. Number 2 on my list, as far as big project goes, of course, is the making a Space Marine suit. That is still on my list to get done. I still have all my foam and everything like that. I just need workspace to actually start cutting out all the bits again. I had started on the helmet a while back. Somewhere down the line, I mismeasured it, and I was going by like this template that was for the Pepakura files, and I had seen that somebody had done proper foam templates. But now I'm finding that there are 3D print files. And so again, it's like back to the 3D print, and I'm like, geez, I might need a 3D printer. So yeah, these passion projects, and that's really all I wanted to talk about in this video, was the passion projects. And I want to know you guys as well. Leave a comment down below. What are your passion projects? What is a passion project that you've wanted, that's been on the back of your brain, you've wanted to get into it, you just haven't really gotten around to it, you're just not sure if you got time, what have you. And I think, you know, you don't have time unless you make time. Taking my own advice, I'm going to start making time, and I think I'm going to start shopping around. I'm going to pick up the Han Solo bits. I'm going to pick up some of those Babylon 5 prints, or maybe I'll just get the files, because maybe I'll get myself a 3D printer. That's all these things. Again, let me know down below your thoughts on Babylon 5, your thoughts on making a 1-to-1 Han Solo. What are your passion projects? What is it, something that you've wanted to do and you just haven't gotten around to getting it done? Maybe this is the year that we all get into it. Maybe this is one of those moments where we just start an avalanche. More creativity just starts flying out of our veins, and we just start producing all sorts of crazy crap. And yeah, so feel free to share your thoughts down below, and I will see you guys next time. Take care of those brushes. They'll take care of you.